Hello everyone, farmers. I hope you're all well. Gentlemen, life goes on. I bought a new tractor. Well, it's kind of an old piece of junk, but let's talk about it together now. For over 10 years, I've told you how to work in the garden together. I hope that our community keeps growing, but above all, becomes even stronger and that you can be a main part of it. To do this, I ask you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, but most importantly, to comment below. If you have any questions, there's always someone who can help you and give you an answer, and you can do the same, like an older brother to those who are just starting out growing things. For those who have been following me for a while, you know that the first tractor I bought was a Ferrari, I think 7576. I never really managed to figure out the exact model. It was a tractor similar to this one, but not exactly like this one. In fact, besides being in much, much better condition, it was a bit bulkier than this one. Here, this is really the most basic model. Let's take a look around, then I'll explain some of the differences to you. For sure, the bodywork is in very, very bad shape. Later, I'll let you hear the tractor running, so the engine part isn't too bad, even though there's a bit of work to do. Why did I get it? Because I have a series of problems working in the greenhouse. I can't find anyone with a very, very low tractor to get inside, and I can't work it. With the same, I would have to remove the roll bar, but even then it's too tall to work with. So where can I find a solution? There were various solutions. I had even thought about getting a walk-behind tractor. The incentives are a bit higher than the costs in between. So this was one of the good solutions, plus it's the model that lets me do it. So I said, okay, let's do it. Let's go take a look under the hood. Come on. There's a dedicated video on how to use the Grillinetta. For several years now, in some parts of the land, I've been using X's Grillinetta. Why? Because if you look on the market, there are these Grillinetta that are heavy, really heavy, and the Grillinetta. You don't need to have infinite space, but it needs to be nice and light and easy to use. This model here, in my opinion, suited my needs better because it's a bit taller compared to the other model. I'm 2 meters tall. You see, I work well, especially for those who might have back pain and need to work the soil by hand. That's a piece of advice I can give you. Then you can grip it however you want. Some people hold it more to the side like this. Some grip it from above like I do. Sometimes I start one way and then switch to another. We can just break up the soil like in this case, or we can go really deep with it.
Ribaltare di più. Dipende che cosa dovete andare a fare.
The advice I can give you is to keep a continuous, steady movement so that you always finish the row without any problems. Now, the soil might feel a bit hard if it has never been worked, but if you keep working it regularly, look, it becomes quite simple for you without any effort, and you just keep going. Look, it's needless to say, the materials this broad fork is made of are really fantastic. I'll leave a special discount code for our community in the description, so take advantage of it. We mentioned it earlier. Underneath, we have a Ruggerini. Its displacement should be 1,100, unlike the Lombardino I had mounted on the old tractor, which was a 1,500, and we have 30 horsepower. So, just to be clear, in a very, very rough way, the mechanics will tear their hair out. The power is given by the horsepower, and the displacement is basically how big the engine is. We can have an engine with a larger displacement and 30 horsepower, so a very big engine that takes up more space, or an engine with a 1,000 displacement and 30 horsepower. Now, of course, these numbers are just examples to help you understand. Which one should you prefer between the two? Generally, one might say the slightly bigger engine, especially with forced air cooling like this one. Generally, we put a little less strain on it. We have a bit more space. I have to say, these engines here are still engines that last forever, both Lombardini and Rui. Recommended on really well-made old engines. I'll let you hear the engine run. It doesn't work badly at all. We already have some components here that we need to replace. For example, we need to tighten these return lines that are loose. See, that's not normal. So, I just want to tell you, we have the air pre-filter. This one is an oil bath air filter. You see it gets channeled into the engine. Here you need to put a pre-filter, so you'll have to go buy one. A good thing is that we have the pump on this side, which is a pump that only raises the rear lift. And here we can already see the difference. With the other Ferrari I had had power steering. You can feel this a little bit, but it's fine. We have the whole engine block. We have diesel basically, so the diesel tank, the oil tank, and we have a smaller battery compared to the one I had in the other Ferrari. We have most of the electrical system, but it's mainly over there, since here everything is disconnected and needs to be reconnected. Plus, we have the central block. As you can see, unlike the other one, the other Ferrari tractor was a single block. This one is articulated, so you see this is the central joint, and that's how the tractor turns. I'm not crazy about it, especially if you have to go on the road. I don't like articulated ones because they have this kind of drunken effect. It's very hard to control in certain gears. If you go slow, it works just fine, no problem at all. We don't have axles made as strong as they used to be. Like I said, it's a bit of a basic model. And then if we go back here, we see a series of distortions, blunders, and huge screw-ups that were made during the modifications. This is a machine that has been worked on by 50 billion people with 50,000 different uses. They've done various things to it. It needs to be reviewed and fixed up a bit, but let's turn it on. I'll show you why I bought it. It's naturally a bit of a challenge. Later, we'll go see all the things we need to change first, things you'll notice. If you try to start it, most likely it won't work. The cable is tight. It's not bad in terms of sound. Mechanically, everything seems to hold up, even the power takeoff. In my opinion, we can think about it. Once it's been serviced a bit, I think it's not bad. Let's turn it off and I'll show you what needs to be done.
Allora,
let's go see together what needs to be done. First of all, as I told you, it needs a little revision. Keep in mind that it needs a full service. So that means oil change, air filter. Let's see if we also need to change the foam elements. Let's say the metal filter of the air filter. I would say change the diesel filter, which should be this one. This one in front, we're definitely going to change the oil filter too and remove all the old oil. When we get vehicles like this, they say they've done the service, but from experience, I suggest doing it again. They're not very reliable. Let's go. Let's take the whole tank and empty it completely and clean it. There will be all sorts of stuff inside. You'll see. Let's also remove all the hydraulic oil and service that system completely as well. In here, under this plate, there should be the oil filter, usually a small metal filter. We'll completely overhaul that too. Other things to do as part of the service, I would say, are to completely overhaul and grease all the points. Let me explain. There's a certain stiffness you feel when turning it, which is there. It's probably because things here were greased years ago. We should also check the bearings if there are any under here, but I'm not sure. But you see, the grease points don't look very greased to me, so it's better to grease them to be a bit more confident. I also noticed that this should be the differential lock lever, but it's missing. The differential lock is gone. I don't use it that much, but we need to figure out if we want to use it, we need to get it working again. This should be the differential lock lever. Well, it needs to be checked a bit, but it's not a major leak. We should also check the oil in all the gears to understand exactly where we are in terms of their condition. Then switch over here in front so I can show you everything. Now, I don't know what this little cap is. Honestly, I can't figure out what the heck is missing here or what screws in here. It should be the wire that goes to the tachometer, hour meter, etc. I'm pretty sure it's this one because this one turns and this should be it, definitely. The oil pump, usually the oil pump, the connection to the gearbox, but I'm not sure about this. One thing I'm sure about, though, is that this one you see here, a bit makeshift. Actually, not just a bit, it's really makeshift, was the wire that came off the choke. So when the engine is on, when you start it, you have to run the engine with this cable left slack. That's why I was telling you earlier, I don't know if it'll start. See this wire? Here, everything needs to be lifted, the throttle fully opened, and this wire should be detached right here at this point to disconnect. Another thing I'm noticing that you can tell, we had a leak in this muffler. I mean, muffler sounds like a big deal. Maybe it needs to be checked again. But that's the least of our problems right now, because from down here, from underneath here somewhere, look here, it's leaking diesel, so probably the hose here isn't fitted properly. In fact, we can see diesel, you see it, this should be the fuel pump, and this will also need to be checked a bit to disconnect it. Then it's normal for it to leak a little diesel. These aren't major jobs, they're just small maintenance tasks. When we do all our oil changes and so on, we'll take care of them without any problems. Let's take a look at the back, because in the back we actually have a series of jobs to do. So come and see. Here we have our lift, which also has the same lubrication problem, but it's pretty stable. Here they've made all sorts of makeshift fixes, just like at the market. My father bought it. Come here and I'll show you, because Cavalli disconnects it since it's the same with the lift. And this kind of work is really extraordinary. So they also had a kind of kick attachment, and then they had another type of kick attachment. I'll show you, which is this one. Here, in doing this operation, they made a spectacular blunder. If you check, they modified something. If I attach it, maybe the small ones spin inside and touch here. So I'll have to take apart the whole section, which is this one, and cut it. At least this part here needs to be completely cut. The only problem is that it's attached all the way underneath. It's pretty big. So I need to figure out how the heck to do this job because it's not a small job. I'll probably take apart the whole section, and once we're at the workbench, we'll figure out how to modify it because you can't attach a PTO shaft here. Without a PTO shaft, I can't attach the rotary spader because the idea would be to try to attach the rotary spader. It should hold. I don't know if it will, to be honest, because of the weight. On the other Ferrari, the rotary spader worked without any problems. Here, honestly, it's a bit tight. I don't know. We'll have to try. And then evaluate if opening the arms like this is enough or if the arms need to be attached in another way. But in my opinion, we'll see about that later. First of all, we need to disassemble the lift and check. Let's say this hook worries me less because we're going to change this improvised top link. Welded, re-welded, turbo welded. By the way, if you look, this arm is more bent than straight. Put it here, look at it so you can see. Do you see how bent it is? It's not straight. So we need to figure out whether to replace the small linkage arms. That's also something that needs to be done. But first, I want to wait until I take everything apart and figure out what to do, what not to do, how to handle it. And of course, you might say, darn, Matt the farmer, you really got yourself into a mess. Well, maybe. That's definitely one way to look at it. Could I have done without it? Yes. Was it kind of a challenge? Yes. Am I a bit more comfortable with the tractor, with another tractor? Yes. Because I've already had a similar model, so I feel a little more at home, more or less. With a tractor like this, you either keep it on your land or need a way to transport it since you can't drive it on the road without a license plate. I have a van and the tractor stays in the warehouse where I fix it and load it onto the van when I need it. So I don't see a big problem. It's just a challenge. Guys, I gave him a bit of chewing tobacco, so some things can be done in life. I'm curious to take those parts apart. As soon as I take them apart, I'll be able to give you a bit more of a clear idea of what it will cost us to do. A whole series of things to see what comes out in the end to make it work at its best. I'm forgetting to tell you how much I paid for it. Consider that for everything, including delivery and so on, 2 grand are gone. So it was almost 2,000 euros. Is it a lot? Well, yes. Could it have been less? Yes. Did he deliver it himself? Yes. Did I test it here? Yes. Am I pretty sure about the engine? Sort of. It comes down to pride, really. Saying, I want to see if I can save some money. This here's the basic goal. That said, it will be a new challenge. If you want to join me in this challenge, I could use a hand. So if you give me some tips, if you remember having a similar one and so on, it's definitely not a bad thing. Here's something I didn't tell you. For these vehicles, you can find almost all the spare parts. This is a pretty good plus that made me say, come on, let's do it together. And that's it, farmer. That's life. My voice is still a bit low, but my spirits are naturally high. I'm really happy. Maybe it doesn't show, but I'm really happy with my purchase. Let's see how it turns out. Farmer, see you in the next video. Subscribe to the channel. The comments are down below. Bye, everyone.